AJ Easley, coach of the Savage Squad, and this is my story.
Okay, so tell her where you from?
I'm from California, Los Angeles, California.
So growing up in, on the LA, how was it for you,
It was fine. They'll test you until they realize you can't be tested or you shouldn't be tested. Yeah.
So just living in LA, how old were you when you actually got into your first fist fight?
6, with my cousin. Because he said I was smiling too much. So he thought I wasn't tough enough. And so the motto for our family is respect or fear. You make your opponent do one of the two. Respect you or fear you.
Right. So growing up in LA as well, they have gangs and everything. So
Never.
You gotta. But sometimes you gotta actually make them respect you too. You're
Right.
Walking up the street hey bro, I don't want to be in a gang member, but I can fight.
Right. Exactly.
And so how your experience was?
It was pretty much that. I grew up in a very suburban area, and my family, I come from a very large family, and they all lived in the inner city. So my dad thought I was a little too soft and too nice. So he took me to start hanging out with my cousins, and that's kind of where it started. It was like, oh, you think you can fight? Well, you're going to fight him, and then you're going to fight him, and then you're going to fight him. And then when you come back tomorrow, you're going to do it again. And it just became that way.
And so how many of them fights that you actually, with your cousins, that you actually, won?
When I first started, I was fighting people. I didn't care how old they were, how big they were. And until I realized there's a science to it and the strategy, and that's where I excel, is the mental part of it. Everybody says life is like chess, but it's not. Because in chess, you have the same amount of pieces I have. Your strongest piece is as strong as mine. So my job was to handicap the other person, create mental or physical pressure, force a mistake, and then capitalize. So when I think like that, you can't outthink me, so you can't outwork me. So it became easy at that point. So at that point, it was just rack up the wins.
And it's been on ever since, huh?
Yes, sir.
So what year can you say that you actually started, professionally, fighting?
So when I graduated high school when I was 16, my family is really big in sports. Kenny Easley, Hall of Famer for Seattle Seahawks, D'Angelo Hall. So I grew up in that era, and thought I was going to play football at Florida State, and went to have a physical, and my spine was actually fusing together. I'm actually supposed to be 6'1", that's why my arms are so long. So my spine was actually fusing together, so I had to learn how to walk again, body cast for 6 months. And all I could do was watch karate movies. And I saw a blind guy beating up everybody. I'm like, I want to do that. So I started from there, and started with underground fights, and that's how I met Bobby Guns in the UK, fighting underground and doing bare knuckle fights, even when bare knuckle wasn't legal, which we made a lot more money then. But that's how I started.
So I always see it on the movies, but I never seen it in person. So just for the people who watching this right now, kind of walk them through every one of them, every them fights underground.
So the money that is exchanged is significant. So it's basically, you've seen people fight pit bulls or whatever, and you bring your dog and you put some money up and your dog fights their dog. It's the human version of that. So the tension is thick, and then it's you got to still leave with your money once you win. So you walk in, and like I said, the crowd is loud. Sometimes it's untimed rounds, so if you get tired, you get tired. And everybody's a coward when you get tired. So our rule is you just don't get tired. But making it through the fight and then making it out on your own, and that's literally how I train my guys now. When I take them to Vegas, we do doghouse rules. We'll show up to a gym, walk in with my team, and take on the best they have. We'll do 6 to 8 rounds. We'll leave, and we'll go to another gym, do the same thing. Leave, go to another gym, and do the same thing. And people are like, this guy might do 2 rounds, this guy might do 4, this guy might do 1. We do all our 6 or 8 straight through, and then we go to the next gym. I want them to get tired. I don't care what you do when you're fresh. So if you can make it through a training camp with me, the fight is easy. Easy.
So you mean from gym to gym they go in and fight?
And we only do
bare knuckle.
No, we
okay.
do. Yeah, no. The bare knuckle, you have to train a certain way, but all my guys also box, and I have MMA guys as well.
Okay, because I was like, you go fight all them fights. Like, I want to see a person's on like knuckles after that. Like, I know.
Oh, our knuckles. Like, I have a callus right now. I can punch a wall and probably won't feel a thing.
Dang.
Yeah, that's what I was doing out there, and he was like, ugh.
Hey. So, I'm like, what year did you actually become one? I'm like, trainer.
I started training, 12 years ago, probably 12 years ago. And then I went on a streak where for 10 years I didn't have a loss. I think Don was there when I had my first loss with Puma. Yeah, that was my first loss. And I felt like it was my fault. But, my guy broke his hand, and the way he reacted to having his hand broken, he basically took the next 2 rounds off because he didn't want to throw it. So you're in a bare knuckle fight with one hand. And he was still, in there with a very tough opponent, still held his own. It was still a very close decision at the end. I got him to finally in the 5th round start throwing it. But then I learned from that because the Agnesa, my female 125 champion, or 115 champion, she broke her hand. And right after, she started throwing it like it never happened. So with the broken hand, from the 4th round to the 6th round, she fought with a broken hand and threw it like there was nothing wrong with it. So I learned from that mistake to plan for that and hope for the best.
So, if you could bring it back to your childhood versus now, would you do it again?
I would absolutely do it again. I would probably skip football altogether and just stick to fighting because I had to rely on a team. It's just me in there when you're fighting. It's me versus you.
So, like, when you go in the ring, do you have to have one on that certain type of, like, mind frame? Like, I'm about to destroy this person?
No, like I said, I think everything like a science. Like, I have rules for everything. If they do this, then I do that. I have rules. And like I said, I want to create mental and physical pressure, force you to make a mistake, and then capitalize. And I fight half a man. So you can beat me with both your arms. My 2 arms can destroy your 1.
So, being in this for like a few years, well, over 10 years,
forever,
not a few years, so
forever.
I'm like, what do you enjoy most about it, and what do you actually dislike about it?
So what I like about it is the fact that before I was in it for the wins. Like, I just wanted to show that I was the best, and not say it, but show it through the work of my fighters. But now I'm actually at the point I can take somebody off the street and get them a win. My thing is I want to build better people. So outside of the ring. So that's one of the things that I really enjoy about it now. That's why I'll take the misfits. I'll take the Jets. I'll take the people like that and help grow them and build them and make them better people like Mighty Mouse and other people. What I don't like about the sport, like I said, I'm a straight shooter. Fake fucking coaches. When you have a coach that doesn't know how to cut weight and your fighter needs to cut weight and you're like, I don't know. Or when people can lose their lives in there and you're in there playing like you know what you're doing. Just because you get a pair of focus mitts, you think you're a coach. That doesn't make you a coach. That doesn't make you're playing with somebody's life because you'll go home and be fine. They have the headaches and the residual effects. I can't respect that. There's not a lot of teachers out there. There's a lot of trainers and there's a lot of coaches. There's not a lot of teachers. So you got a lot of people that play like they can coach and they can't.
Gotcha. So, and like BYB, and like actually, where do you see that going? 10 years from now.
I could coach in any platform or phase that I want. I choose bare knuckle because it fits true to home. Because I know boxers and coaches that right now that are punch drunk. If I put on a glove, I'm going to hit you as hard as I can because I know I'm not going to break my hand. You actually throw 40 to 60% power with bare knuckle, so it's safer because I'm not going to hit you as hard because I know I can break my hand. And it's nothing better than that primal feeling of being in there. But BYB is going to grow, and it's going to swallow up every other organization pretty much.
Gotcha. So, what's next for you?
Keep building champions, keep building better people, and help BYB be like the face of bare knuckle.
All right. But last but not least, tell the world, what can he find on social media and on everywhere else?
We're not doing that. No, I'm just playing. AJ _SFC. and that's my Instagram. But yeah, I'm not a big social media guy. I'm an old school coach. I just want to show up and show out. That's it.
Gotcha. Oh, but then we done.
All right.
All right.